So once you get through this, this is now an interactive session or instance of the GitHub documents and interactive notebooks I have on here. It allows you to open up your own notebook console, so it's very powerful, actually, a very neat feature that's available through GitHub and the Binder community. This is the introduction. So I showed you in the report the introduction section. This is actually some of the calculations in it. So let me show you this very quickly. So this Jupyter notebook lets you put documentation into an interactive notebook. So most of this is documentation kind of explaining what's in here, as well as links to various pieces of information. And then whenever you see this kind of grayed out area, this is an interactive cell. So unlike Excel, it will only execute the cells that the person manually executes. So the way you do that is you click in this cell, and then you can go up here and hit this what looks like a play button, and it executes that cell. So this is just going to repeat the output is below. It's going to repeat it again. We could put in a different function. This is all out of the cryo-FM, which stands for cryogenic fluid management set of functions that I have in here. I think we can put bond in here. That's for bond number. If we hit play, yeah, you can see now it's giving information about the bond number. What are the key arguments and so forth. So that's a kind of a simple example. It has information in this introduction on fluid properties. I use CoolProp, which is an open source property evaluation tool. Very helpful, very powerful. And then I'll just show one more example. This is some common properties for cryogen. I've got oxygen in here at 2 bar. And then this just prints out very quickly some of the key, most useful or used properties. You could add more or take off, whatever you choose. Just take a quick look here, though, and the saturation temperature at 2 bar for oxygen is 97. Of course, you can change this to hydrogen. In fact, let's do that. Let's change it to hydrogen. And I think this might have to be parahydrogen, which is the spin state for liquid. So let's see if we hit the play. Yeah, so now it's giving you the data for parahydrogen at 2 bar. 22 K is the saturation temperature. If we change it to 1 bar, it's going to show it pretty close to the normal boiling point, 20.2 K, because 1 bar is very close to normal boiling point pressure. So this particular one, I believe, is saturated conditions, and then you can do specific state points if you choose to. Now, don't worry about messing up anything, so to speak, on these interactive sessions. This does not change the source notebook at all. It's all temporary, so you have to save it if you want to save anything you did in here, but you're not going to do any damage to the actual original document. And then one last thing I'll show, if you click over here on this little icon, it actually gives you a table of contents of what's in the particular file you have open. So in this introduction, we're here at specific state points. We just looked at saturated conditions. And you can see there's also dimensionless numbers and some calculations. So that's kind of a quick review of what's on GitHub. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to show there. Let me click out of that. The other resources that are available here, excuse me, are videos from a workshop I did for NASA in September of 2022 at the Thermal and Fluids Analysis Workshop. And here's all of those topics. You'll notice they correspond directly with the table of contents here. So I basically used this report to run a half-day session. So it was kind of a very quick, high-level run-through, but it seemed to be well received. And I made these videos available, edited on my blog posts. So if you click on one of these, it gives a little information about the video. And then they're available here. You can actually watch them right here in the blog itself, or you can zoom them out or go to YouTube and watch them, whatever's most convenient for you. So this is just the introduction section. And of course, there's all the other videos in here. I think it's close to 4 hours total. So that's all available. The other thing that may be of interest to some folks, I taught for 10 years a course on Excel and Visual Basic that's built into it for engineering analysis and modeling. And then as I started to gravitate towards Python and other codes, I wrote a post about that, which is accessible from the website as well. But you can take a look at this. Some discussion about what Excel and VBA are good for, and then some of the other open source tools that are available, or at least were, I think, in 2020 when I wrote this. And as I said, I've been migrating more towards Python, and Jupyter Notebook is a good way to document things and run them interactively and be able to share them with anybody and use them. But if you do decide you'd like to use Excel or Visual Basic or both, I've made the notes from that course I taught for 10 years available here online. So, I used to publish it actually on Amazon too, but it's no longer in print. A little bit about the preface for the report. And then this has that same feature I mentioned where you can actually watch, look or view the slides that I used for that course right in the web browser itself, one at a time, or you can pop them out and with that icon at the top. Let me do that because this one is definitely one that's easier to do that way. And you can see it's 300 slides. So this goes through, here's the table of contents for how to use Excel for engineering, modeling, and analysis, and then how to include Visual Basic to make it more powerful, more automated, and that sort of thing. So some folks are still very interested in this. I don't teach it anymore. I just make these available online. So that's another resource that you're welcome to make use of. I think that covers everything in training, and believe it or not, we're still just in the top part. But one of the things I tried to do with the website here was to make it easy to quickly jump to wherever your interest takes you, or you can be more systematic with it if you like. So all of that was in the training page that we looked at here. So you could get to that directly by going up to the menu. I'll mention that each one of these pages has a table of contents at the top where you can quickly jump to a particular section if you know what you're looking for, or you can continue to scroll down and look at various pieces of whatever you want. Some people like examples, so I include under the portfolio tab some example projects. Of course, a lot of them are proprietary or confidential. In a few cases, they're ITAR restricted or even classified. So obviously none of that is in here. But I do have highlights from various years. For example, this is 2022, and if you click here, it expands it, and you can take a look. This will actually take you to the presentation I gave for this particular topic. And then a couple of bullet points about that particular year, some highlights that I can share that are, publicly shareable. And then I give a few examples here in different topics, and it's probably easier to see from the table of contents up here. So energy storage and microgrids, launch and space, and aviation and marine. And these are all hydrogen, predominantly liquid hydrogen systems. So if it helps you to see examples of various types as you're looking at your applications, you might find something of value in there. Let me go back now to our homepage. So we were just looking at project examples here. There's also publications. This is all under the publications tab. I don't think I have too many live links here, but you can look up a lot of these. This is software still, sorry, publications here. A lot of these by looking at the title, and in not all, but a lot of cases, they're available under the NASA server, which is a public database that anyone can get PDFs or other versions of reports in. And again, they're categorized. If you go back to the top and you want to find a particular category of publication you're interested in, you can take a look at, say, slush intensified hydrogen. And again, to the extent these are only the public domain available ones on that topic, but you can look up those titles and get some information. So now continuing in the homepage, not too much more to show you. Hopefully you're not getting too exhausted by by this whirlwind tour, or dizzy or vertigo or something worse. This is the This just takes us to the webinar and the training. These are the training resources. This is that cryogenic fluid management report. So I won't click on those again. It goes back to the same thing we just looked at. This is a methodology that I've developed over the years that I use on all my projects. I call it Climbing Mount Asabi, and it's a methodology that borrows on systems engineering, lean, agile techniques, sources of innovation, business canvas modeling, a number of other topics that I've kind of collected over the years. And I find it's very valuable, and a lot of people seem to find it helpful. So I've included it in here. You can look at it on your own. I think I might include a button, hopefully is available next time you take a look at it, of a talk I did for AIAA at the Power and Propulsion Conference a few years ago, where I kind of used this as walk through this in an example for missions that are trying to infuse new technology. So I'll probably include that, but something that you might also find interest in. Voice of the customer, this is just some testimonials of folks that I've worked with over the years, and a little bit about their experience working with me, and then customers and partners. And then finally, news and updates. I think this is mostly things we've looked at already, but this is where I put in the most recent work that I can share that's going on. One that just occurred as of the time I'm recording this video is a new hydrogen microgrid and hydrogen aviation fueling project, 2 years with the Army, and I'm under subcontract to NeoX Systems as the prime on that. Very excited about that work. It's been something that's been building up and building off of a previous Air Force contract. So I think this is going to be helpful, not just in the Department of Defense, but many commercial and public applications as well that are trying to put together hydrogen microgrids and make fueling available for all kinds of applications, aviation, transportation, and what have you. And then I have the previous button to the previous year's highlights. This just goes back to that portfolio where you can see the different years of highlights. So we're almost there, I promise. Just one more bit of information and resources I wanted to share. This is the blog index. I put a couple of highlights in here. This is that one that talks about hydrogen systems development that's very popular. If you click on that, it'll take you directly to that particular one, along with the slides that are, as I mentioned, very detailed and have a lot of links to resources. This is our webinar series that we've already looked at. But what I tried to do with the blog that I think is a little bit more easier to look at is categorize them based on roughly big picture, I guess, categories, so that you're not having to search just on keywords or looking at chronological order. So entrepreneurship and innovation has a number of blogs. This one is small because it started, we just, as of the time of this video recording, just started doing the webinar, and I just began doing the weekly news summary. So these are links to the webinar, which will eventually have the videos from the webinar and other resources, as well as a weekly update of global news on liquid hydrogen, which I think is interesting to get a sense of what's going on around the world in this topic area. And then integration implementation type topics, strategy and public policy. And again, you can click on any one of these links. It gives you the date it was posted. And then if you click on them, you go right to the post itself, and you can read it or dig a little deeper. Systems and modeling, and then finally training and speaking. So that wraps it up. And you can go, this button just takes you directly to the blog, so you can take a look at what's up there right now. So this is currently the last weekly summary I did for LH2, showing the universal hydrogen flight, which is exciting. All these news items are usually exciting to see and great to see the momentum that's building here. So with that, I'll end this quick video tour of what's available on the website as a resource for our upcoming webinars. Thank you very much for paying attention if you've made it this far, and hope to see you at the next webinar session.